Hi, and welcome to the Merritt Family Podcast. We blowing up. Join me and my three boys on our business journey as we trip, fall, and fumble our way trying to figure out how to grow our family business from 10 million to 100 million. And let me tell you, that ain't easy. Learn from our past mistakes and no doubt the ones that we'll be making here very soon. So, if you happen to be trying to figure it out just like we are, then follow us because we blowing up.
Already, huh?
All right. Well, once again, we are joined here for another episode of the We Blow It Up podcast. And the subject, of course, we don't know yet. We're going to figure it out as we go. So,
yeah, the main thing we need to figure out, Dad, is hold on, David. You shush over there. It's my turn.
You're in a different box. Look at you're in that lower. You're in the lower box.
It's all about you now. You have the stage. Now pressure's on, pal.
Yeah. What's he going to say? What's he going to say? Everyone's waiting.
Just kidding.
It's always actually a real thing. Shush. Every time the video comes on to me, I'm like, oh, crap, put that back to the other squares. I'm like, I don't want all the attention. No, but we need to start this episode out with, Dad, what is on your hat?
What's on my hat? Well, underneath that is a Sacramento Kings logo.
Yeah.
And what I decided to do is have kind of a personal protest. They, we started out the season this year with some optimism like we often do. But true to form, we are in the cellar of the Western Conference and 0-4. So I'm kind of staging a silent protest. So I'm going to walk around the Sacramento area with my Sacramento Kings hat on with the masking tape over the logo. And I am going to continue to do that until such time that they actually become respectable. And I'm going to leave it there. And that could be for years. And if the tape starts getting a little nasty, I'll just replace it.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like our coaches. How many times we've replaced those coaches? It'll be about as many times you're going to replace that Band-Aid.
Hey, Dad. Dad, say your the reasoning, because the rant that you go on about what the solution is.
Okay, this is the solution to the Sacramento Kings problem, but nobody seems to be talking about it, so I guess I'll bring it up. We've changed owners. We've changed general managers, multiple times. We've changed, I don't even know how many coaches. I've lost track. It's just like a revolving door. We've completely overhauled the roster multiple times. We've changed the team uniforms. We've demolished the old building, and we built a brand new state-of-the-art building. What else are you supposed to really do? So I came to the conclusion that the only thing that really remains as part of the old regime would be the mascot. So as much as we dearly love Slamson, I think it's time for him to go. And then I think maybe the curse will be lifted.
I think Slamson's the number one mascot in the league, Dad.
He probably is. I mean, he's excellent, but still, maybe he's the problem, and he just parading around in a lion uniform.
It's sad when you have to say that we have our mascot as the number one mascot in the league. Like that's the hope there. It's like, wow, we did a great job, Slamson. He keeps us all entertained and he keeps people in the seats.
Well, because if not, then you're going to be crying. So I mean, it's one or the other.
Well, what he does
as long
is
as they turn that song. Oh, sorry, Dad. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what he does is that he draws your attention away from the team and to what they're doing or not doing, and it keeps the focus on him and some of his antics. Which he's entertaining and he's amusing and he's an awesome mascot. Loves Slamson, but man, the team, I just don't know what to think about these guys anymore. I'm really starting to kind of. Well, I think after all these years, I should have lost a long time ago, but I'm losing some hope here.
A lot of the times how they say that a lot of the money is made at the concessions. Well, maybe there's like a conspiracy or something where they're like, hey, what we found is when we're winning, like the natural elation that people have from winning, that they buy less drinks at the concession stands. But if we're losing, then they're going to go drink and drown their sorrows out. So they're like, okay, what we can do is lose constantly and then just jack up the prices on the alcohol and just make a killing year after year. So maybe there's like a method to the madness after all.
Hey, stranger things have happened, right?
Dustin, you froze like 8 times in that one rant.
Oh,
We got to fix that Wi-Fi.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta
It said
boost it
before
up.
logging in here. Well, so Xfinity, my internet service provider, said that they boosted me up free of charge from 100 to 200. But before joining this live stream, they said to be a professional, you have to plug it in. So I guess I'm not a professional yet because mine is Wi-Fi.
Well, it's interesting because I have the same service, and this laptop is being used wirelessly, and the modem and the routers and stuff are not anywhere near here. They're on the other side of the house. So I would wonder about the advice that Xfinity is dishing out there.
So Drew, you made a comment about Dad's hat. Are you not going to make a comment about his shirt?
Dude, you beat me to it. That was the next thing. I had it loaded. I kept saying it in my head over and over again, so I didn't forget. Dad, is that a pumpkin on your shirt, or is that a pumpkin shirt?
There it is.
Smiley.
Well, I mean, Halloween is coming, right? It's Monday. So we've got to get in the Halloween spirit here. My King's hat, a pumpkin shirt, ready to go.
No, it was crazy. The outside of our apartment, like we're on a floor with 3 people on our apartment floor, and the neighbor to the left of us, his door's like facing towards us, and so he put up this this like light, a human-sized kind of scary guy, or I don't even know what to call it, like some Dracula thing or something or whatever it is, with a hand out for the candy. But I opened the door and I literally thought that it was like somebody was coming to get me or something, because it wasn't there before, and I was like, oh, and it scared me, and then I actually got scared, and then I was like, oh, there was a guy. And then the next day I went out there, the guy was gone. I think maybe the guy heard it through the door or something. He's like, oh, I'm like scaring the neighbors, so he took it down, I think. So because it was literally facing, at an angle directly towards our door. So you'd go out and it's like staring at you right away. And ours are in front of our door. It's like a cute little pumpkin, like with a little like a little ghost one that's like a baby ghost, not like a scary ghost.
Yeah,
So
like
that thing scared the crap
baby,
out of me.
Little baby Casper.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, boo.
That's pretty scary. But what's more scary to me is not blowing up. So how we blowing up, boys? Like,
there he goes.
Yeah, see, David brings us right on back.
I know he's
That's
always
right.
waiting. He's waiting for that way in.
The Kings are here. Great. That's good. We got scary, just scarecrows and scary figures, but. What about business? Like, let's get to business. Where the business at?
Yeah. Business is all about building relationships.
Business is all about ethics.
Was that a pretty good one, Dad?
Yeah, that's been about 10 years in the making, but yeah, okay.
Did you make any relationships this week?
Well, Dustin should have made a good relationship with his neighbor, with the scary Dracula outside. That's a great way to make a relationship with your neighbor, right?
Yeah, I met him one time.
Yeah, so back to David's question.
15 feet away.
Yeah.
So back to David's question. It's back to how are we blowing up? And I hear a whole lot of crickets.
It's a little concerning.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of ways we're blowing up.
Maybe a better question is, which kind of ties into it, is what have we done since our last episode to blow up?
Oh man, you want us to remember all the way back then?
Yeah, 7 days ago. Woo!
Yeah, this is coming from the guy that remembers when he's 5 years old, walking down the street, buying everything, working for, he knows every teacher, every person in the neighborhood. I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast.
Yeah, that's probably because you didn't eat any.
That's a good point.
Dad, I think you were lighting up the blogs this week, were you not?
I was lighting up the blogs. You mean like doing a lot of them? Is that kind
Yeah.
of the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say I did a pretty good job this week on that. We were actually averaging around 70 downloads a week on our blogs. I just checked it before this particular podcast, and right now we have it up to about 126, I think it was. So we're pushing close to 130 for the last 7 days. So, that's nothing really like monumental, but considering that we just started this in July, well, actually the end of July, I'd say maybe the 1st of August. Yeah, that's pretty good. I feel pretty good with the progress.
Yeah, so that type, just to speak briefly on that, that's a certain mentality that not everybody has, and it sometimes has to be cultivated. Maybe some people have it, like Dad, you probably just are wired like that, but sometimes it has to be cultivated because a lot of times people will say start a blog, start a YouTube channel, start a website business, whatever they're starting, and they'll be putting in some good efforts, but then they'll see minimal results in terms of sales, in terms of views, likes, comments, all these sorts of metrics. And then they look at that in comparison to other channels, and then they go, okay, look how many they have and look how few I have.
Sure.
Therefore, I am unsuccessful.
Hold on. Sorry, Dust. Dave, stop bringing Dustin to the forefront. It literally keeps freezing him.
No, it's not because I'm bringing him to the forefront. It's because he's lagging. He's lagging.
Why?
You'll be talking like this. David brings you to the forefront, then all of a sudden you're frozen. Then he brings you back. He just keeps doing it.
Just on this episode, leave me out of the big picture, and then just you guys can do that. Just see if it works.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, so. So they're measuring themselves in comparison to other people, and having somewhat of an unrealistic expectation of how long it takes. So my point being is that, Dad, like you're like, hey, I'm kind of just getting started on this thing. I'm at 70, and then I got up to 100 something, and you're like, hey, that's pretty good for this being a new thing, and I'm seeing progress going up. So I think that's important, is to kind of measure yourself against yourself. And even in the early days, it's like in the big scheme, it's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal because eventually you're going to get there, just like our YouTube channel, just like our business, just like anything else. It's day by day. You just keep doing the efforts and you go up over time. So that's why you got to start and stick with it. Stay with it, and then improve over time and all that. And don't get so caught up in the small, short, my number isn't 1 million or whatever it is, because you'll just quit.
No, the thing is, the truth of the matter is, I don't compare what what I'm doing here to anybody else. I really don't look at anything. Zero. I just focus on what I'm doing. And then the measurements that I look at are how many total downloads that we have, which we're approaching 1,000. And then what my 7-day running total is, where I'm averaging, how many downloads am I averaging every 7 days?
Yeah.
And so I want both of those numbers to rise. And the only way that I can really do that is to continue to produce, content that, people will want to read or listen to,
Exactly. And that's just the uncomfortable truth, that it's like there's no secret, there's no magic. It's just that grind. Yes, there's ways that you can improve over time and optimize and all that, but that's just just a tactic or just something that might expedite the process. Like Daff, she started that YouTube channel that she has like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And has like 100, I think it's like 150 subscribers. She's like, oh, I only have 150 subscribers. I'm like, 150 subscribers? You have 150 subscribers?
That's what I'm saying. It's like people
and
are
she
looking.
thinks that that's not a lot. I'm like, no, that's tons. Like you're getting them every single day. Like this channel has like 5. It's like nothing. And so, but like 150 in that period, it's like amazing. So, but people don't see it like that. Not everyone sees it like that. It's like you have to switch your mindset.
Think about 150. So if you think about like a movie theater, I don't know how many that seats, but like 50 to 100 maybe. So
this is what people don't see.
You gotta imagine, you like with her food content, you have 100 to 150 people watching your movie. Like you filled out like one movie theater
that
of
she
people.
randomly just was like one day, hey, I'm gonna just do, I'm finally gonna do the YouTube thing or finally do the Instagram thing or whatever, and then just keep kind of get the lighting, get your little camera, your phone out, and actually download the YouTube creator and whatever, do the little process to get started, and then just start. You record the thing, you start editing your own video, whatever, you post it, and you just do that process, often, and then that's the result. It's like, yep, you're gonna get to 1,000. It's just a matter of time. Then you get monetized, and then you're just there, off and running. There you go. Now you're monetized. Now maybe more people see you. Now all of a sudden, those people try to hit you up to be an influencer and all this stuff. It starts happening. All the stuff starts happening, but it starts with you. So like Dad, with yours, it just starts with you. You do all that, and then later that other stuff will start coming because people see you and they see an opportunity, an audience, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really don't think too much about all of that stuff. Honestly, it's just a daily grind. You just think, okay, well, what am I going to write about today? And when you have your topic, organize your thoughts, and then just start. I mean, that's the biggest thing is start. Just put something down, and then over the course of time, your whatever it is that you're creating, it'll always get better over the course of time because you'll learn as to what's better. I know when even as such a short period of time that I've been doing this, when I look back on the original stuff and what I'm doing today, I can already see improvement, just like with our videos, same thing.
Oh man, the old blogs, Dad. Remember those ones?
How can I forget?
Oh my gosh, I think I deleted that too, didn't I?
Oh, I think you pretty much got rid of most all of that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, we were so inconsistent. We didn't know what we were doing. We weren't looking up keyword research on actually what people are searching for. We're literally just making up graphics that it's all over the map. There is no consistency in branding and what you're writing about, topics you write about. I mean, it was like the Wild West, and each blog had its own character. It was like one, we have Harry Potter on it. The next one, you had a hot dog with mustard on it, talking about wireless range. I don't know what it was, but it's just crazy. From what we found, the best way to learn is just jump in the water, and then you're like over time, like, oh wow, that was really bad. I need to keep doing it, but start improving or find out what other people are doing to make this thing successful. And for the longest time, what did our blog or website produce, Dave? It was maybe like 100 visitors a month, if we were lucky.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Depends how far you go back, but even like 2 years, I think we had almost no traction, like nothing, very close to nothing as far as website online presence.
Yeah, so just take out YouTube, take out video content, any of that. Just the blog alone, our website would get like 100 viewers, just no people. Basically, no one's coming to the website. So we were always looking at like, okay, is this blog thing? Do you just write stuff and then Google puts you to the first page? You get people contacting you constantly, like, we'll get you to the top of the Google, we'll get you to the top of Google. And they keep saying that. You have 5,000 people hitting you up saying that.
Sure.
Guess what? They never get you to the top of Google. You know what got us to the top of Google? Staying consistent, looking up keyword research of stuff that people want to know about that would help them, and then sticking with it and doubling down on the content putting out as much as you possibly can.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. And just for clarity, the numbers you're talking about is our audio blog podcast, where we take the written content that we've done as far as the blog goes, and that's something you would Google search, like best wireless headset, for example. You do a blog on the 5 best wireless headsets, full write-up, you have all the pictures, got all the stuff, conversion strategies. What you're referencing is we actually now read that and post that as an audio blog slash podcast, whatever you want to call it. We call it the Business Tech Reviews. So you're talking about the number of downloads that people are listening to blogs.
I was talking about our blog in general at first. Blog in general, no people. Now, okay, now the same thing. Dad's like, okay, let's do an audio blog of the headset content because we came across a website that had a thing that you could actually listen to the blog. I really like that because a lot of times I don't want to skim through the whole entire blog. I'd rather listen to it. So Dad's like, okay, cool. I'm going to be the audio podcast guy. Now, when we make a blog, Dad puts an audio blog to it, and you can just see with the consistencies, the numbers just keep going up. Mm-hmm. And it's not like rocket science or anything. It's providing helpful content in the way that people want to watch, read, or listen to it. Whatever, we're giving it to them all. So video, audio, and written form.
Yeah, that's
not
amazing.
Easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think like David, like how you say is that like a lot of the times ideas are the easy part, right? So ideas the easy part. So these are all ideas. Oh, what if we did a audio version or whatever? The implementation, the grind, all of it, that's the hard part. Actually doing it, actually sticking with it. Fortunately, we have Dad on our team who's like legendary for discipline, right? I mean, let's just be honest. If he puts his mind like I'm doing this, he will do it without fail every single day. Holidays, weekends, nights, sick, not, like it's like crazy, the type of like stick to itness, which is something to be learned. It's a very valuable skill to have and to cultivate, because like you're not going to always feel like doing it, right? You're like, I don't feel like it. Well, yeah, but I've committed. I decided to do it. It's not a feeling. It's like this is what I do. This is what I'm doing. That doesn't mean forever, but like for whatever this period of time, this is what I'm doing, and I'm sticking with it. And well, then just like, sorry, Dad, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, I just have one random point that's a little bit on that, and then I'll pass it over to you. So, just like the Jim Rohn stuff, how he talked about like action. So let's say somebody goes and does 10 cold calls, and then they're a 50% close rate, so they close 5, and then so they're super good close rate, like 50%, let's say. And then somebody else just comes in, they kind of stink. Let's say they have a 10% close rate. Well, maybe their skill's not going to be so good right away, but they can just make 5x the calls. Like, so just make 50 calls and you'll still get the same 5 closes. But then like what you were saying, Dad, is that over time, your skill will increase by just doing. So the person that's putting in that heavy volume can instantly produce the same as a good closer if they just put in more volume. But then on top of that, the bonus is not only are you going to have more volume, but your percentage will go up over time because you have more reps, more experience, and then you'll get better at closing. So then you'll just separate yourself from the pack if you just have that. The work ethic is really like a huge aspect. But back to you, Dad. Back to the mic test. All right.
Yeah. What I was going to say was that sometimes if you gamify something, it kind of helps. Like in this particular case, we're talking about blogs and audio blogs and things like that. Well, when I start looking at the numbers and I start looking at it kind of like a game, it's like I can tell you when I last looked, I think we're at like 966 downloads. So my immediate goal is to get that to 1,000. So it will get there. If I didn't do anything further, it'll get there, probably in the next week or two, or whatever. But I want to get it there faster. And then once I get to 1,000, then I want to see how long it's going to take me to get to 1,100 to 1,500 to 2,000. So I'm constantly looking at that. And then that is what helps to drive me towards producing more content, because the more content that I can float, um, there'll be more potentials for downloads. And so, I guess through gamifying it's something that can uh, help to give you the inspiration that you need to be able to produce content, and maybe not so much see it as a grind, I guess.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, Dad, because so many sales organizations gamify their sales teams. And so you've been gamifying your jobs, no matter, you could probably go way back when you were doing the job where you had to fill the beers. What was that in the factory?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you had
worked
to
at a brewery.
Yeah, in a brewery. So you were even gamifying that back then. So you've just taken that all the way throughout your career and when you started the business of gamifying it because you can see numbers in your head that you can elevate on. So you're like, hey,
Sure.
I'm right here right now, but can I get a little bit higher? And then before you know it, you're a little bit higher and you just keep going a little bit higher.
Sure.
And so I like how you do that. And it's a very clear path to measure your activity on.
Absolutely.
It makes it like a little bit more fun and interesting if you make a game out of it, right? Dad's just obsessed with like, oh, I got 10 this week, so I got to get 12 that week, or like, what can I do to make it go a little higher? And he's obsessed with it, but it's fun. Like that's why we played games as kids. It's like I can't tell you how many games I've played to like you just keep playing so you can unlock the next level, right? You keep unlocking. I got to get that little weapon, or I got to get that little
Sure.
upgrade. So you work real hard at the game so that you can get that little reward. And like when you set up business in that way, it kind of is the same mechanism that like video games does for you. It's like gives you that dopamine spike. It's like, yes, I hit my goal.
That's right.
No, games these days are perfect at gamifying things to keep you hooked and keep you going. So you can take that same concept and use it on anything that you're doing, whether it's blogging, whether it's Dad, you're doing the audio blog, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing. If you have something to actually reference it to and have some fun with your job, it makes your life a whole lot better.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like in the in our industry with the manufacturers, I can think of one at least that puts you in these different tiers. Like, so you'll be like bronze and then silver status and gold something, and it unlocks like maybe some more discounts or some access to whatever it is. And when I was playing online poker, I remember that too. Like, you in your account, you could click in the account and it shows like what level you are, like you're a bronze or something, and then it shows like the little needle, like you're 1%, 2%, 3%, and then until you get to silver. And it also shows to the other people you're playing against, I'm a silver person, I'm a platinum player or whatever. And then it gives you some extra like little benefits, like you get more like rewards and stuff like that, where you can check out in their store and get these cool little like what was it, like iPods and stuff like that, and all these little gadgets where you're like, oh, that's cool, I get a free thing. Well, it's because you paid into the system over time or whatever. But it's like a gamify, so it's cool. Like you're at like 92 and you're like, just come on, just grind up to get up, I want to get to that next level.
Well, that's interesting thinking about, because we just signed on partner software, which is going to be able to unlock for us the ability to be able to set up any kind of commission structure we want. It can set up so much different things. So we could have our own levels, bronze, silver, gold, or whatever you want to call it. Actually, what I would want to do is kind of like the UO titles we were talking about, like journeyman, master, grandmaster type of thing. But what, like, is there something we could do in that realm that might make sense that could help unlock more partner activity for us?
I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing. You put the reward system in place. There's certain criteria to get to the different tiers, and then you have an incentive. If you get to this, then this. Let's say, there's journeyman, you get paid X. But if you get to expert or something like that, that gives you an extra percentage on each of your deals, or gives you points for a reward store type thing where you can select items out of the store, that type of thing. And it allows people to gamify it, check in. I want to see what my And then if you can put it in so where someone doesn't have to log in, I don't know, like, so this is beyond any. So this, I'm more of like the idea. Yeah, pal, you've got the idea, but you don't know how to do it. Okay, yeah, I get that. But an idea that I have, which is a dime a dozen, but whatever. Okay, is instead of making it some weird website you have to log into where it's like this other thing where it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. If you can have it more readily available, like in your face in a way, like if it's on your computer dash, like pops up like some like a little pop up if for an app or like a text message, or not a text. It's kind of text is a little weird, but I think you get my point. Is that
some kind of
that
widget or something?
Something.
Yeah, or
that
if you were
keeps it more in front of
integrated,
them.
or if you were like integrated in their system that they use every single day, like say use Microsoft Teams or Slack, right? There's a thing that it's an app on there. It's something they use every day. You attach to it. Now, guess what? You can be top of mind all the time.
Yeah, and it sees the bar. It's like headset advisor or something, and there's a bar, and it's like the full bar, and then it shows your half, and then you can click in, and it shows details, and you're like, oh man, like, you know, what if I get to that next one by this date, then I can unlock this and have these things. So you give them the gift of gamification.
In our platform that we use for our audio blogs, Buzzsprout, they have every time that you upload a podcast, they have all this celebration, you know, like confetti and all this kind of stuff, and then they give you badges. So they give you badges in two categories. One is how many podcasts that you have uploaded, and then the other one is how many downloads that your podcast channel has received. So they have all these different levels, and so they send you, you know, an email, and they, you know, congratulate you with these badges, and that's kind of what they do.
That's interesting. What you kind of sparked my mind is like, we have a developer on staff, plus this new software has the ability to create automations. We could easily integrate with a lot of the communication platforms like Teams or Slack or whatever instant messaging thing. I got to imagine we can set that up that it's just like, oh, here's your earnings, or oh, hey, you're 15% of the way to gold, or hey, you get double rewards this month, or send in 10 referrals this month and you get, you know, whatever. I feel like we can easily do that.
Well, you know, really, that's just another way of communicating and touching, you know, your partners. Because the last thing you want to do is sign up a new partner, then just kind of like go dark on them and just, you know, kind of not communicate. Well, no, you want to communicate. And the type that you were just describing is the kind of communication where it answers the question, well, what's in it for me? Okay, you're communicating with me, but is there anything in it for me, or is this just like spam, or, you know, what is this?
Well,
No, there is something in it for them, you know?
yeah, one thing I'm noticing is that email engagement is like, I feel it could be just us, so take this with a grain of salt, but it seems like the email communication in general is like going down as far as like engagement, as far as opens. Like it just is not getting as much attention as it used to, especially a lot of the blasts. Obviously, like normal email is crucial, but having like a text message or an instant message to your exact app, I guarantee you is going to be a higher open rate and view rate than a lot of our email communication.
I think you're probably right on that, and part of that, from my perspective, is that we are so inundated with emails that we've kind of become immune to a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just all has become sort of like noise. And I know in my case, I can't even tell you how many emails I get every day, and the vast majority of them I just delete.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of us.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I think you're right on that.
Yeah, that's why tying like in the B2B space, I don't know how it'd be like consumer space, but that's why like for us, for example, if you can tie into other people's communication platform, this is a system that they're in daily, talking with coworkers or managers or other partners. So if you can tie yourself into the easiest way that they communicate, it's something they live in every single day. It feels a lot more personal versus an email. Again, like Dad, you have millions of emails. You're just like hitting delete or just like not even looking at them at any point because it's just too noisy in the inboxes these days. So I think not only is email going down, but I think a wider net is needing to be done with multiple touch points of social media, of phone calls, the phone is not dead, by the way. If you use the phone properly, it will work. So phone call, email, video chats, I think you have to use all forms of communication and find out where your ideal customers are at and try to get integrated in their systems where they're communicating every day.
I think you have to use all those things strategically.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I think in the past, I think it was pretty easy just to default to basically one or the other. Like everything, I'm going to put all my emphasis on, making outbound calls, or I'm going to blast people with emails or whatever. But I think these days, I think you have to be a lot more refined and pretty much more surgical and strategic in your approach.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated because like for our YouTube channel, right, we're getting hundreds of thousands of views, right? But it's not a direct engagement, right? It's just kind of like mass marketing. And then some portion of those views will come in and actually inquire and you'll fine tune. We also have so many customers that we don't have enough account managers in order to effectively communicate with them properly. So, there's that. I mean, obviously that's probably a big area that we can grow and kind of fine tune and increase our lifetime value. But at least using the tools in a wide net, but then the more effective approach obviously is the strategic, hey, let me call, let me email, let me text or live chat with you as an individual.
Yeah, all the tools have their place. So it's just knowing which one to use for which job when. There's like, if you look at just analogies like doing, like a construction site or doing work around the house or whatever, use a flathead shovel. What's the other shovel called? Like diamond head or something?
You would have no idea. Well, I don't know the last time you used a shovel.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be talking either, though.
No,
But
you see these hands? Well, there's a little something. That's
Oh,
for
wow.
golf,
You
so.
hitting the gym?
But no, well, that's a whole nother story. We can get into another day. But
you canceled too? I just canceled mine.
Yeah.
I went in there and I decided, nah, I'm not going back. I can't do it.
Yeah, but so the different tools for different jobs: flathead, screwdriver, Phillips. Yeah, There you go. So use some of those, and so you don't use this one tool for all the jobs, right? So you have different tools for different purposes. Same way in business. For some situations, it's not just some organizations use the phone. It's like even on specific customers, sometimes you would use the phone in certain situations. Email might be better. Going in person might be better. A lot of sending something in the mail could be better in any given scenario, depending on what it was. So you have to just, and on top of that, say like on the topic of email blast, for example, you can just say like email blast to customer base doesn't work. Well, kinda. It's like, maybe if you're just saying that in a general way, like email blasts are dead, like reply, responses used to be 95% open and response rates like back in the glory days, but nowadays it's like 2%. But what if you have a targeted segment that you email blast that is 20, 30, 40, 50%? So then maybe you do utilize the email blast strategy in that segment. So like segmenting lists. But then maybe on this other list, it's not email blast, it's strategic outreach or something, whether that's phone call or whatever it is. So that's why, like Dad, what you're saying, like be more surgical or be more precise in your approach. It's like being a little bit more sophisticated rather than just, generic and just blast, like mass blast works. It's like, that's too basic for this day. There's so much noise. So you have to be more refined.
Like for our emails, we're getting like 15 to 20% open
like
rate.
20% is pretty standard for us.
Sometimes we get some home runs that, maybe upwards of 30%. But it's like, just thinking about like the partner process specifically, obviously we should be communicating with our partners as best as possible, and, they're extremely valuable. So, but having these automation tools that can engage them aside from email, like text message or direct chat, instead of, because if you think about it, 15%, let's just say, or 20%, it's like, what if it's the same 20% over and over again? It's not like a variety of people in that 20%. It's just like only 2 out of 10 of your partners will ever see your message. That's not good. Whereas if you can automatically hit them in their Teams chat or their Slack chat or their text message, and you have like 80% potential to even see your message, let alone take action on it.
Well, yeah, so that's like what Drew's saying, like go where they're at or what they interface with all day long. So if people are in their email, they're just delete, or just, it's so noisy that they just don't see it or just like get to it later, or you ended up getting flagged a spammer and you're just getting routed there. Whereas if you were, in their Slack messenger or something, and you could just literally message them, they message right back. Like, you have instant access. So it's not that they're not accessible. It's that you just have to become more understanding of how to best access them in a way that they prefer. So like, I don't know, out of this whole conversation, that little widget thing seems kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
Well, plus, the other thing is, this conversation started with Drew making the comment of establishing relationships, and that does tie into this conversation, because the more relationships that you can make, and the stronger that they are, the easier your job becomes. Because if you have established a good, solid relationship with someone, when you send them an email, they'll read it. When you call them and leave them a voice message, they'll call you back. So it stands to reason that investing some time to be able to nurture relationships and really get to understand who your customers are, it really does pay in the long run.
And Dad, let's clear up, building relationships is not contacting your past customers and saying, how's the weather today? And then you contact them next week and say, hey, how's the weather again? Like an annoying mosquito, right? Dad, what's your idea of building relationships? Like, what's your thoughts around that?
Well, really, if I was to kind of sort of internalize that, it would be meeting someone for the first time and trying to have that person open up to you, just in the course of just a natural conversation. Because, I mean, obviously somebody could be very businesslike and they don't engage in any kind of side conversation. It's just strictly business. Even sometimes those people, you can get to talk a little bit, but trying to get somebody to open up and just have a normal human to human type conversation. If you can do that, you'll begin to get little pieces of information about who this person is, what they like, and what they're kind of all about. And then it's a very slow process. It's something that takes time to nurture and develop. But over the course of time, you begin to understand, this person has, they have a daughter in college. She's studying, hydrology. So eventually, maybe you get to asking the question, hey, how's your daughter doing in school? I understand that, you had told me back when that she's studying hydrology. That's pretty interesting. How's she doing? And then, of course, they want to talk about their kids. Parents are, proud of their children, except for you guys, of course. But anyway, another matter.
I can kick you out of this this podcast.
Yeah.
Any
Just one
second.
click
I got
away.
just one
And
click away.
you would be doing me a big favor. Because then I could go off and do some other things that would be highly, highly productive and probably more fun.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
Dad,
that
I
was
think
a
what
zinger.
you were getting at, like, say, bringing that up, and then that also opens up the door. Maybe they say, "Oh, do you have kids?" and so on and so on. So now all of a
for
sudden
sure.
you start to know someone, and oh, cool, we're
Yeah.
like just two people in this industry. Like, I like this, person, and whatever. I like working with them. So, like, for example, the in-person events, which we love so much.
You are being facetious. I know that. But
Two events in 10 years.
those are good opportunities. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that my point in bringing that up is that those are maybe that's one of the huge aspects of it. It's not the deals that you get out of it. It's that you're able to get a little bit closer and establish in-person relationships with people to actually be like, oh, I actually saw you at this convention. Like, you're really in this industry. You actually came out here. You talk to them a bit. Maybe you have some food or appetizers, drink or whatever. Have a little conversation. You're just in the same place. Maybe a year from now, it ends up being, oh yeah, we know them and we met them there. And then, or like you're saying, Dad, they might take that call now or answer your email now or something like that. And that could be potentially somebody that has great influence or, would be a great person to work with in business. But had you had not gone there or started establishing those types of relationships, you don't have access.
No, and the other thing about relationships is you have to not only try to establish those kind of personal connections, but you also have to deliver, and by that I mean you also have to provide that excellent service and response. And like when they reach out to you, just don't shine them on and just ignore those inquiries. You have to respond to them promptly and give them the best possible service that you can, because through that and the personal connections that you're developing and the relationship, that kind of molds everything together and establishes what you might call a long-term customer, somebody who is willing to even go out of their way to make sure that whatever business that they might have available, it's going to go your way and not some other direction.
Yeah. Like I'm sure you can, like, for example, you have a like a friend or something where you're like, I really like this person. We go back and but I wouldn't get in business with them though, because they're just a little bit unhinged. I really like them. I'll be there for them, but I can't. So you not only have to have the relationship, but then also have to be good at when they when they work with you, that you're actually going to be the real deal. Drew, sorry about that. Right over to you, to the mic.
No, it's okay. Yeah, Dad beat me to it, because you can't just build relationships, and just because this guy may like you doesn't mean that he's gonna do business with you and then continue to do business with you. So yeah, getting liked is a great thing, but you still have to bring your game, and all the choices out there are endless. So you still have to deliver and know your market of what your value is. And again, just because they like you doesn't mean that they're going to continue doing business with you. They could be doing business with you today. That relationship helps you keep an opportunity to have another chance to continue doing business. But you have to be realistic on what value do you bring to the market. Plus, the relationship aspect has its advantages for sure.
Well, the other thing is when you're talking about relationships and you're having that one-on-one conversation with someone, really the interest in that person has to be genuine. You know what I mean? And that's really, really important. It can't be just like superficial, because number one, people can kind of sense that. But if you really want to develop good long-term relationships and long-term customers, you really have to take a personal interest in the people that you're doing business with. So you should be naturally curious about your customers. It's like, who are these people? I'd like to find out a little more about them. So, I understand a little bit more about the people that I'm doing business with here, So a natural, genuine, and sincere curiosity, I think, very, very important.
Yeah, I had a situation recently, and I won't give too much information just because it's like a public public. Who knows who's going to listen eventually and
Yeah.
stuff. I just don't want to give too much details. But
Sure.
basically, there was somebody that we work with sometimes, and we're on great terms and things like that. But so I think you know something happened where it seemed like, wait, is everything going all right over there? Like I hadn't seen them around for a little while. So seemed odd because, like when you see people's usual behavior and then you're like, they disappeared, start doing something. You're like, something just seems off, like, do you guys, so anyway, so I noticed that. And then I checked in on them just to see like, is everything like, are you actually, as like a person, like, are you okay? Like, and just because, just to check on them because it seemed a little, I don't know. I just wanted to check just to see like, is everything fine? And it ended up being fine or whatever. But that's, I think one of those human elements where it has nothing to do with business. Like just, I don't know. I just noticed something and it's like,
Yeah, I think I know the situation that you're talking about, and it's not like our employees. You're talking about a customer or a third party affiliate to
yeah,
our company.
right.
Yeah, so it's like if you're used to like seeing things, activity back and forth, and then it just kind of goes dark. You're like, hey, what's going on? Like,
Yeah. And that's not like, oh, I want to connect so I can get more business. It's like it's not, has nothing to do with that. It's like, just is all okay? Like, and even if it wasn't for whatever reason, like maybe we could help in some way, if
yeah,
there, but it turns out it wasn't the case. But it's just,
yeah,
sometimes it's like, I would want someone to check on me if it was like, they notice like, where'd you go? Like, are you okay? What if I wasn't okay? And what if, that was that outreach actually did something,
yeah.
so anyway, yeah, so I don't know, just yeah, that relationship stuff, I definitely need to get better at it, but I know the value of it and glad that you guys are like getting a little bit more on board with it. I know, Drew, you seem to be decent at it, like, or at least trying to do it, so that's good.
Yeah, I think if I did it the biggest thing that Dad said was being genuine. I am actually, there's a post on LinkedIn, forgot who posted it, but it was about, hey, what do you guys think about the phrase I'm just curious? So like some people are like, oh, I can't stand when people say I'm just curious, but when I say I'm just curious, I'm genuinely curious so I can help you. So I think before anything is, if you're actually genuine with your outreach, if you're genuine in wanting to help, if you genuinely care about people, people can tell right away versus let's build a relationship and let's get on a meeting right now. It's like, that I'm not interested. Like, you can just smell it.
I think my issue with like relationships is I have a hard time getting past like that surface level communication. I'm good at like, hey, we got a thing to do, right? We're working on a deal. These are the three things we need to do. I struggle with like trying to connect with somebody on like a more personal level and like have like genuine interest in those details because I feel like it's just a distraction or a delay for the actual deals or the things that we're actually working on. So I have a hard time connecting on that level, and it's something that I need to personally work on because I know like it's good for just a human being, like human being level. And then on top of that, it's like will actually benefit on a business level. Like you never know what kind of influence people have down the line, even if it's just like you just help them, like you just help in an area that you feel like you can help with no expectation, no deals, and it's just like, oh hey, here's this thing, or helped in this manner, and then who knows later kind of what kind of comes back from that, just what connection they have, what introductions they make, that type of thing. So I don't know.
There is something to say though about you can you could still get away in business and be highly successful without being a relationship builder. You can be highly transactional and still be highly successful. Again, it's like outreach. Should I cold call only or should I email only? You shouldn't do only one or the other. You should do whichever one makes most sense in that application. It's the same thing that goes with relationships. Dad, you had mentioned if there's someone that you can't really crack the code on getting them to be relational, that's okay. Just be transactional with them and provide very good value, service, product, whatever you're offering.
Of course.
And that's maybe the best for that guy or girl.
For
Other people, you build a relationship and then they just like you so much that they always want to do business with you. Even if your prices aren't the cheapest, they don't care. They just want to do business with you. So again, it's reading the audience. Like you have to know which way to go.
Yeah, and true. Maybe the relationship goes the other way. Maybe at first it's transactional and you provide the great service and everything, and you just build the trust on the business level, and then then some of the layers peel back and they're like, okay, I like you, I trust you, now I want to get to know you a bit or something like that. So it might go the opposite way. So like what you're saying, Drew, like just reading it and then just like don't like force a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, that thing. That.
Yeah, that's the saying. So, but there's got to be a reason why, say, like for us, manufacturers all around the world want to travel thousands of miles and spend tons of money to come out and shake our hands and spend time with us. Why? Like, we can do all this over the phone, over video, all that for super cheap. Why are you doing that? There's got to be a reason why these,
there is, and it's about exactly what we're talking about, and that is, there is no substitute for sitting down across a table from someone, face to face, and having a conversation.
I hear what you're saying. It's just like I've been to a lot of these meetings, and it's just seems so pointless to me. So it's so hard for me to be like, yeah, I just did a good day today because I met, this particular person in person. And it's just like, to me, like as long as the business side of things line up, like, for us manufacturers, it's like good service, good margin for us to make money on, maybe some good strategy or some marketing funds. But it's like that in-person meeting. Now, am I going to just do more business with you because I met you in person? It's like,
well, David, it isn't like you meet somebody one time and suddenly
I understand.
magic
understand.
happens.
I understand.
I mean, say for example,
it takes time. It's something that unfolds.
So let's say, for example, I didn't work in this company, and you guys all worked in this company, but I'm in your family, right? And I work in some other just place, and I could go get a headset. Who am I going to buy it from? Like, I would
Amazon,
pay
probably.
more No, come on. I would probably try to do that thing, which in my opinion, people shouldn't do, which is ask for a free one from your family. Really, what you should do is overpay or pay the full price if you really support your family's company. Or whatever, someone's business, like, someone, they have a business. You're like, oh, hook me up with a deal. No, it should be the other way around. Hey, keep up the good work. I'm going to pay, give you the full price and a tip or something for like what you're doing, if you're really supporting something. So anyway, my point being is that I would think that I would actually pay like a full price and be like, hey guys, just send me the good stuff. Like, I want to buy my headset from you. I'm going to see if the people in here, if we can get them buying the headsets from you guys too or something. I think that that's more likely because the relationship. So that my point in saying that is that if you have the closer relationship, when it comes down to it, where are you going to go? You're probably going to be more likely to go to the other place, even if the price might be a little more, something like that. So I think that's the critical factor. So these people all coming out to visit us, it's like, yeah, we could go to this other one, but we're doing fine over here. Let's just stick with what's working for us, right? It might be like that. It really might. Well, I get what you're saying though, because I never need to meet.
Well, and also like on
versus
on
this little
some of
green bubble.
and like on some of these ones that we're doing, it's not with customers, right? So it's like it's in my head, it's like we have lights to keep on here. You know, we got a business. We gotta sell something in order to like pay for everything. So from that side of things, it's like no, I need to focus on meeting with our customers, our potential customers, partners, that type of thing, on how we're gonna go ahead and get business or like do videos or content or whatever. So I need to focus on that. It's like, why am I doing this other thing? Like that's so.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's one of
that's-
those
Yeah,
things. It's
yeah.
yeah.
Max,
No,
hey,
it's
hey, sir.
my turn.
I'm a-
My turn.
Yeah.
There we go.
Go ahead,
Go.
go, Dad. No, Dad's the leader here. He's got a pumpkin
Oh,
shirt
yeah,
on. I'll let him have it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the pumpkin rules.
Smiley.
It's almost one of those cases of blind faith. You know, it's like you're investing the time to develop those relationships, and it's just having faith that it's time well spent.
Yeah, it's just like the
Understandably,
branding.
you know, it's clearly understandable that things need to be sold. You know, wages have to be paid, taxes, insurance, lights, and the list goes on and on and on. But at the same time, there is a lot to say about establishing long-term, deep, meaningful relationships with business people.
For sure.
Yeah. So
Agreed.
there's also though you have to be what do you call it? Protective over your calendar, over your schedule, or else other people's agenda runs your life. Right.
Mhm.
So like these other people, there's tons of salespeople in all these organizations that want to get you on their calendar because they have a job and they've got to get meetings and all that. Well, yeah, that's good for you, but that's not my concern. I need to look out for myself. So it's like if it aligns and if it makes sense and everything, we can do that. But otherwise, so that's the priorities. Then it has to be what are my priorities, and then kind of, hey, some people you just gotta say no to or dish to somebody else to meet with. That it's like you're not able to get my time. My time's the limited resource, and once there's so many people after your time, then you have to be very selective of who you spend that time with. Otherwise, you're just spending a major time with minor people, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean in terms of like there's not much going to come out of this for like who else I could be meeting with.
Yeah,
Well,
we're business owners.
if we were driving a car and it was a standard transmission, we just shifted from one gear to another because we were talking about building relationships. Now we're talking about time management, and those are different.
We're talking about get out of here, pal. You're off the calendar.
That's how quick we switch around here. We go from talking kings to business to time management.
No, the funny part though about these episodes is like when I'm cutting the episode, so this would turn into like something about time management is where like this cut turns into.
Sure.
So
right.
So that's like this is what is it called? What do we call it? Winging it?
Four Stooges?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, winging it.
So winging it, but it ends up turning out to have these shorts and these clips that are actually on time management and relationships and whatever the stuff is when we listen to the playback.
No, this episode is the Three Stooges and the pumpkin.
I'm just going to give you the pumpkin right here.
No, put that away.
You know those that needs to be that emoji, like one of those new emojis on the that they have like with the big old gut.
Well, last episode, Drew pulled out the toothpick, so I didn't want to be outdone.
Drew, you had a toothpick on the last episode.
He's talking about that gun right there.
Those twigs.
That's what happens when you quit the gym.
Yeah, you canceled your membership and you shrunk down to got some twigs.
Instantly. Oh, man. Yeah, Dad, I don't do that again. Thanks.
Yeah, that's going to be a short.
He just told you.
Dad did exactly what I would do. Someone tells me not to do it. All right, I'm doing it again.
Double down.
Right. Apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, Drew.
And the picture, like it was perfectly in the camera, and it was like roar. That face. It seemed like you like pushed a button, and it was like roar.
It inflates.
Man,
I think that kind of wraps up
that sums it up.
today's episode. We're 5 episodes in. We're starting to drop the episodes on our YouTube channel. So the shorts is what's getting the most attention so far. It's bringing a little more attention and awareness to the episode on YouTube, plus our little clips that we're posting on social media. So this is kind of fun to see kind of where this podcast goes, to see if this episode and this podcast blows up. But of course, we're all in the pursuit of blowing up.
Yep,
exactly right.
we've committed to 50 episodes. What are you doing? The chicken over there, Dad?
10% of the way.
And we're winging it.
We're winging it.
Oh,
And
Dad,
we're winging it.
you don't tell them, Dad.
Huh? Huh?
All right. All right.
That's it. Hit that end.
That's a wrap.
Hit it.
The
And
end.
Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah,
Ending
subscribe.
now.
End.
Thanks a lot for joining us on this episode of the We Blowing Up podcast, where me and my family are on the pursuit to blowing up our small family-owned business and taking you along for the journey. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future episodes wherever you are listening or watching. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next one.